And there we are.
We're in.
We're in. We're live. It's Sunday. It's early. This is early for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's 1:15 on a Sunday and it's early for you, huh?
It is because lately, I will be honest, YouTube, I have not been getting up until 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm like up all night. I'm on Australian time. Like,
Or New
I'm on the
Zealand
upside.
time.
Do we need to be specific? Hello, Ashley. It's been a while. I wanted to try to get a hold of you to let you know that YouTube gifted you a membership for the month, but you can see it now because you're here. So welcome. And hey, Shill, thank you for coming. Robski and Sandy. No, you can go thank you for listening, Sandy. Hey, Spooky Spoon. Nice to see you, love. Thanks for the roses. Kind of cool. Yeah. But Mr. Malort, I think I got it right that time. Malort.
I think you did.
I think I did. I've been practicing. Yes, I'm weird like that. If I get something wrong, I keep at it until I get it right. But hopefully I did. It's nice to see you also. Yeah. I'm glad to see you guys here. Listen, we haven't done this in a couple weeks, huh, Quiz? And I'm very happy.
No, we haven't. We were waiting on certain things to happen, and
which aren't
holy fuck, they did.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, even if we wait for what we anticipate is going to be the big stuff, this guy, like, I don't know. I hope you all appreciated my thumbnail because, damn, I had fun. It's a Trump a go-go. I don't care what anybody says.
Wake me up before Trump a
go-goes because because it's all just going to be a no-no. Like, I'm telling you, like a no-no because he can't step in it anymore than he steps in it. Like, every time I think he's like waist high in the BS, he's like going for submersion. I'm telling you, he's not going to be happy until he's over his head.
He was definitely in his prime this week.
Yeah. There's been some fun. And you know what? Everybody out there is reporting on it. Like, and so, like, I was just like, well, should we? Shouldn't we? I mean, everybody is like, I mean, when Midas Touch, when they're out there doing 4 or 5 videos a day about this because of the updates, I mean, it's just it's getting to be too much.
Telling you.
All the legal channels and everything, because now, I do like doing a little bit of political, right? Quiz, we were talking about SCOTUS and all the political climate. It didn't intend to be a Trumpathon, but
no, we usually don't make it a Trumpathon, but
this guy,
wow.
This guy, he
I
just
mean,
keeps.
ever since Thursday, one after another, it's like dominoes falling. It's just like, and and of course his response is just as unusual as always. So I
Yup.
think we should get into the first one,
Oh, wow.
which is actually not even January 6th.
What is the first one? Okay, wait. What did we agree
Because
with?
minutes before January 6th announced that they were going to quote unquote vote on whether or not to hold Trump or to bring Trump into a subpoena, the Supreme Court of the United States released their finding about Trump asking for them
Mm,
to tell the 11th appeals court to back off.
mhm.
And all 9 of the Supreme Court justices said, sorry, we don't want anything to do with this.
They didn't just say sorry. They backed up like in unison, like all together holding hands, singing Kumbaya, turned their back and ran the other way. Okay. Yeah. Just like, sorry, sorry. We know you put us here and everything like that, but we got other fires to attend to. Like we're losing credibility
Yeah,
here every time we
we
listen
have
to
to
this.
take away gay rights first.
Yeah, oh God. Hopefully, you know what? Thankfully, actually, I haven't seen much movement on that. I'm
Not yet.
watching the agenda. I am. I'm
Yep.
like, I got you. I got you, boo. I'm watching that agenda. I'm on it, and I'm looking at the calendar for SCOTUS, and they don't even have it listed for the next week or two. It's a very
Which is
small
good.
cake, which is good, and I'm just hoping they don't. They are getting a lot of press and publicity in regards to are they biased or not. So
Of
hopefully.
course they are.
Listen, I'm all for the Supreme Court. Like, you can have your politics. You could be biased if you want. But when it comes to your opinions, they better be legal. You better give me
Yeah.
citation. You better
Yeah.
give me precedent. You better know what the hell you're talking about. And enough of this. This is our opinion, and we're not telling you why bullshit.
And
That
and
is not gonna
I don't
fly.
consider a
Yeah.
legal opinion something from the 16th century. I'm
Well,
sorry. Just it is not an illegal. It is not a legal opinion at this point.
when they type it out and it says "do it" and "what if"
And it
and what
wasn't
and all
even
those
legal at the
hats.
time. It was a freaking bishop.
It was oh gosh, the religious, yes, when yeah, the religious power, yeah. No, I hear you. Like I'm all for it. It's very frustrating, but I think that, you know, I have to give them credit. Quiz. We must at least say that the Supreme Court is reading the damn room. Like that's all I ask people to do is
Definitely.
read the room, people, before you open your mouth. Read the room. Make sure you're talking about the same thing. Make sure you're in the same conversation.
And here's who we must give more credit to is John Roberts. I mean, we may not like John
Mhm,
Roberts all the time, but when he was in charge of the Supreme Court and what
mhm.
they did and what they didn't do,
True.
things ran smooth.
They did, and you know what? I was not behind his politics, but I am behind his legal. I'll
He
give
is
you
a
that.
pretty much a
He
centrist,
he's a
which
s he's a centrist lawyer. You know what? But what do you want from a legal mind? You want middle of the road, being able to see the left and the right. That is
yes,
absolutely what you want. And
and he's
so
as close as what they have right now. He
mhm,
really is. He's as
mhm.
close to
And
that as
everybody,
what you can have.
yeah, can you imagine? And we were all afraid that Roberts was going to get on the court, and now look what we got. Like, it's like, be careful, people, be careful.
Yeah,
Like what
God
you,
forbid they
yeah, yeah, what you wish
choose to
for, because
take it away from Roberts and give it to like Kavanaugh or some crap
oh
like
my
that.
God. And speaking of like Roberts, like I'm really happy about him. I never thought I would say this. Like mark your calendars, people, because yes, my politics are a little left. Okay. I'm not an elitist, I'm not an extremist. They do lean a little left, like because I give a damn about people. Okay, so they do. But he- here's the thing. I never thought I'd say, thank God, Paul Ryan. Yeah, and I just did. Okay.
Did you
Because
say Paul Ryan?
Ryan, yeah, that politician, isn't his name Paul?
You mean the doctor or fake doctor?
No, I mean the politician, the one who used to be in the cabinet and used to be like this in there really high up with the speaker and everything. He just said that in 2024, Trump will not be the nominee.
Yeah, that's Paul Ryan.
That's Paul Ryan, right?
Yeah.
So if everybody knows anything about right and left politics, politics, you would know why somebody that leans left would never even want to say his name. Well, I just did.
And this is one of the things that happened after Midas Touch began doing their series on how many people are leaving the GOP and plan
Hmm.
on voting in a blue wave
Hmm.
next election.
Yeah,
It's just
because
like,
yeah, the right was
we
out there
don't
actually.
trust this party anymore.
Well, because the right was out there singing it the other way, saying we've got the majority, we know what we're doing. Like, and what they're doing is they're showing that the numbers don't actually show that. That
Yep.
actually people are going, no, you're going too far. You're being ridiculous. And that's the thing. Like this two-party system, it eventually gets like this. I guess in all two-party systems, like there's no middle of the road anymore. It's so extreme on both sides that you don't know what to do. Like it gets absolutely insane. Nobody gets
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
done. It's all about the party. There's no individual. Like it's not even about the issues anymore. It's about party agenda and who get our guy in and win, win, win. And like, it's like God, they're turning it into a sport. It's like,
Turning
and
it into a reality show, and I wonder
yeah,
where they got that idea
I
from.
don't know, but like running the country shouldn't be like running a reality show. Like, come on, like,
Or a business.
yeah, or a failed business, or speaking,
Or a few
speaking,
failed businesses.
speaking on that, I got an update on that one because we all know that Letitia Jones over there, the New York Attorney General,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
she has been all over Trump. I mean, because listen, Trump's got a long history of shenanigans in New York. That's where he runs his companies out of. He calls himself a New Yorker. New York doesn't want to own him. They want to own his ass. I'll tell you that, but they don't claim him. Okay, they want to actually expose him for what he's done in New York and everywhere else. Now they've already stripped him of being able to run a charity or like any kind of like MLM business of that nature, a university. Okay, all of these
Yeah.
things failed. All of these things failed because of the way they were structured. They were like, okay, let's call ourselves a charity, but we're going to do X. And then, oh, let's call ourselves a university, but we're really going to do X. Like because they did not follow the rules. I
Yep.
wonder where they got that idea. Rules for
Mm.
the not for me, but it seems to be a
Mm.
running trend. It really does because this is what he's like guilty of almost all the time, including his bankruptcies. He's like, right, to run a proper business, you take money in and you pay money out.
Right.
Okay. And you pay people for the work that they do. This seems to be a concept that repeatedly in the Trump organization gets violated. Okay. They bring the
No,
money
no, it
in.
doesn't get violated. It is never broached. The
It's
subject
it's
just doesn't get brought
it
up. It's
just
just like,
gets ignored. What? Pay people for what they actually do? What? No, we haggle. We'll negotiate. We'll decide whether we like the job or not and whether we're going to pay for it. This is actually the MO. Like this has been going on in New York for a long time. There's been many, many, many suits. As a matter of fact, I read last night, I kid you not, that Trump has been involved in 3,500 lawsuits.
what a shocker.
Yeah. Mhm. And the majority of them. All right. Oh, wait. And you know how everybody says, like, it's okay to get sued, just don't make it federal? Like, stay out of the federal crime zones. Like, stay out of the federal shit.
Like Rico and things like that.
Mhm. Well, 150 of them are federal.
Well, what a shocker.
What a shocker. Okay. And more than half of them are plaintiffs against him. Now,
So are
he
we going to
has.
talk about what he's done in with his charity in New York?
Well, with it, well, let me get back to that. With the charity, he's already like he's already not able to run a charity. But now this is one of the reasons why I say Letitia Jones is she's going for him. She filed a civil suit for $245 million against him.
Yep.
Okay, for his business practices alone and what he's been doing. She says that he owes the state. It's a shenanigans tax, so to speak. That's what I call it. Okay, $245 million shenanigans tax for his business operations in New York and what he has
Right.
done. Because he has defrauded banks by misrepresenting his financials. Okay. And they can prove it in black and white. And they
Sure.
actually put it in the indictment. They proved it in black and white. And he says, and this is his response, everybody lies about their finances.
He has another response that came out, I believe, Friday
To her, yes.
into the whole situation.
To the whole situation,
He's
yeah.
starting another charity organization.
He is.
and trying to move his assets into that
Oh,
before
that's
he
right.
gets. But
Yep.
I don't really don't want to talk about that because we know that'll fail. What I want to
No,
talk about,
but that's the update I was going to say.
I
Letitia
want
just
to talk
filed to
about,
the Supreme Court to stop. Like
yeah,
she said, could you please make sure he can't transfer any assets because he's known to he's got all these. She actually listed all the lawsuits he's in all over the place and
yep.
said he's got all this going on. It's undoubtable that he's going to be trying to hide stuff and everything, and we have legal claim to it if we win. So, like, could you prevent him from actually transferring any of the assets for the Trump organization? But that's a big deal,
But
actually.
what we really need to talk about on this case is Trump's naming ability.
Oh, being able to call everything Trump?
No, we all know that the first charity was Trump.org.
Mm-hmm.
The second one that he just made is Trump.org 2.
Sounds like Scientology. What is this? Like,
I
what?
mean, if you're gonna hide assets, shouldn't you hide your organization too?
Wait, okay, I think okay. So, all right, so okay, no, he can't because Trump can't do anything without putting his name on it. We all know this. The man is known for everything having his name on it. I swear to God, his name must be stitched in his underwear. I'm everywhere.
So he knows which one it is.
I'm just saying everything. Like if he has anything to do with it, that's part of the deal is that the Trump name goes on it. That's been his mission to make the Trump name the biggest name in the world. You
Yep.
know that, right? Like
Yep.
as long as he's getting PR with the name Trump attached to it, he doesn't care. Bad, good, mediocre, he
Y-
doesn't
You
care.
know, he has proven me wrong on there is no such thing as bad PR.
Mhm. Well, yes, Commander, we're gonna get to that. Thank you. Thank you for that is also on the agenda, although I didn't link it. That was cool too. He's been too busy to keep us. We can't even stay on topic because there's so much. But anyway, that is the updates for New York, right? That
Yep.
they're trying to get it so he can't move any assets whatsoever. She's still going forward. She's not dropping these no matter
Of course
what.
not.
Nope, the courts are letting her go forward with it, even though I mean it does look a little tit for tat when the actual attorney general does a civil suit on you for the state. I mean, that somebody pissed somebody off. I mean,
Personally,
come
I,
on.
I, I
Yeah.
mean, he hasn't paid taxes forever in New York,
Hmm.
and I think that
She said,
people in New York are just tired of it. It's time.
yeah.
You want to be
Hmm.
a billionaire. 245 million is nothing to most billionaires.
Hmm.
So here,
Yep.
pay up what you owe and shut the
Hmm.
hell up.
Hmm. It's just, oh my gosh. But legally, he's got me so damn busy. I can barely look at my other cases, which are really, 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 really busy anyway.
And they're busy too. Yeah.
They are, right. So come on, Trump. Could you take a damn week off? Bear's getting tired. Bear's
And
getting
and just when you ask
tired.
that,
Yeah, I know. It's going
he
to blow up.
gets subpoenaed
Yeah.
from the Congressional January 6th committee.
That
Not
actually,
quietly either.
no, like publicly while we were on stream live in front of the whole country, in many countries, by the way, because
Yep.
there was many countries in our chat while we were streaming it. Like, and yeah, they voted unanimously out loud in front
On
of cameras.
the record.
On the record, each one bipartisan. Yes, there are Republicans there too. Don't let them kid you that those are fake Republicans. They're actually real Republicans. You know, they do. They said they're not the real Republicans that are on the committee. Like they're such assholes. Like really. But no, yeah, in front of everybody. Hmm.
And
But
what's amazing after that happened is within just minutes,
the 14 page. Wait a minute. I gotta show them the first line of that. I
Trump
have to
brings
I
a
have to wait.
response.
Yes, wait. Just the first line. I gotta bring that up. I'm like, give me a second, people. It's worth it. I'm telling you, this one. Oh my god, this guy, his response is a 14-page letter to the committee addressed to. He got their names right at least. He got Benny
Well, we
Thompson
we
listed.
know that he doesn't do his own headings, so let's just not worry.
Mhm. Okay. Like, all right, so let's just like first let's just like could you guys see that? Like hopefully that's big. Let me see if I can make these a little bit bigger. Ah.
Why don't you click that plus sign over there?
Yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah.
you go.
You're watching me mess up. I forget. You can
I'm
see
helping.
everything.
I'm
I know, I
helping.
know. Everybody can see everything. A little bit dingbat. What can I tell you? It's early. I'm going to keep saying that all day today, people. It's early. Okay. Well, this is what got me peacefully and patriotically.
Yes.
Okay.
Peacefully. Our Donald Trump is the most peaceful president that's ever been, even though he
Uh-huh.
tried to overrun the United States of
Yes, yeah.
government. But
Peacefully, he ran an insurrection. Okay.
yes,
Peacefully.
it was a
Peacefully.
peaceful insurrection. They were
Peacefully.
touring.
Mhm. Peacefully, he's been name calling every government agency since the minute he started campaigning. The DOJ, the CIA, the FBI, the IRS. If you're in, forget it. Like, yeah, peacefully, he's been dragging you. And patriotically, too, because that's what you do. You sue your damn country when they do something you don't like. Yes, that's what we do, patriots. Yes, that's how you do it. That's the new definition of the word. Anyway, that cracked me up. I digress. this,
So
this
this is his letter in response to
would
being
you
subpoenaed.
would you like to read the first line? All in
Oh, that first
capitals?
line.
Can you speak in capitals?
Do you really want me to? The presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen.
Just in case you didn't know that, Benny. That's his defense for everything. I'm not guilty because you can't charge me because I'm still the president. Period.
That's right.
That's right. I can't be subpoenaed. You can't talk to me about this. I can do whatever I want because I am still actually the president. And I refuse to believe anything else. That's the whole defense for all of it. This is too much.
I mean, he doesn't even start with addressing the subpoena.
No.
He starts with bringing up every single conspiracy theory
Mhm.
he possibly can, putting it all in that first paragraph.
Okay, we're going right back to the campaign. The same group of radical left Democrats who utilized their majority position in Congress to create the fiction of Russia, 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 impeachment hoax number 1, which you were impeached, dude. You just didn't get filed charges on. Impeachment hoax number 2. Oh, you got nailed on that one too. And the 48 million Mueller report, which was successful. In proving that there was fucking shady shenanigans going all over the place. That's why half your cabinet left. But and then,
Hey, that was his
Ukraine,
cabinet, not him.
and then Ukraine, the atrocious and illegal spying on my campaign. Sorry, dude. Everyone who runs for the presidential office does get a dossier done on them. We're allowed to know who you are. We're gonna vote on you. Dude, really? Dude, it's illegal. It was illegal because they didn't have his permission.
Yep.
And so much more are the people who created this committee of highly partisan political hacks and thugs whose sole function is to destroy the lives of many hardworking American patriots. Do
Or
you
just
thi-
his.
Okay, could I get a vote? We got to do a poll.
Poll.
Poll
Poll.
is all right. Because it's over, did the January 6th hearings, what did he say? Ruin? Destroy. Oh,
Destroy. Yeah. They
destroy
destroyed their lives.
your patriotic life. I don't know. This is ridiculous. And just yes or no, because I think you're wrong. We're gonna prove you wrong here. I hope. But for me, it's a sounding no. It actually restored some of my faith that people gave a shit what was going on, and I don't get to vote, like, because I created the poll. But anyway,
Oh, I'm
vote away,
sorry.
people. That's okay. My vote's no. But anyway,
I'm sure there's not going to be any surprise on that one.
yeah. But anyway, the letter goes on, and all it is that campaign about it. What it is, it's all in black and white type, and it basically goes like this. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. I'm gonna eat some worms. Fat ones, skinny ones, little itty bitty ones. I'm going to eat some worms. Yep, that's basically when I read this. It, besides sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 it definitely, that song runs through my head. He's definitely a woe is me right now because, like, he's still on this. Like, this cracks me up. This is his evidence.
I love this. I want to jump down because he does a lot of blah 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 blah,
Oh, which
and
one?
then he gets into
Which page?
what happened on January 6th. I'm on page 3.
Okay, on page 3, paragraph.
It starts with the Department of Defense timeline. Shows that the National Guard troops could have easily been present at the Capitol before January 6th, and that I fully authorize this recommendation and request.
No, he didn't. There's actually, wait a minute. Isn't that what the January 6th committee just tried to find out whether he actually did? And no one had any evidence that he did. Matter of fact, the evidence is to the contrary. He did
exactly.
nothing.
It's the only way the National Guard can be brought in to Washington, D.C. is with presidential approval.
Oh, so he said that it would have been up to the Capitol Police, like Pelosi, because she didn't contact the mayor.
Well, even the mayor can't do anything. Again, it's federal property. What is it? It's posse comitatus applies on federal property.
It's just
you want your National Guard to come and save your capital? Well, just somebody really high up, like, I don't know, the president needs to request the help.
Did we not see like multiple text messages, phone calls, and requests from everyone around him for him to do something in that 3.5 hours that he ignored? He was getting messages. They were being relayed to everyone around him. To intervene, that something bad was going down, that he needed to call them in now. And he did nothing. Like, now they're trying to backtrack
here's what he's trying to do. He is trying to blame everybody else for what happened on January 6th. And why the failure to act or to use this ready force? Had even a small percentage of the National Guard or fencing been there, there would have been no problem. January 6th would have just been another date.
Or if he had said, or when they had saw the people in the trees with the guns, he actually let them do anything. He kept saying, "Don't bother them; they're my people."
Yeah, exactly.
He literally said that.
And maybe if he wouldn't have continued saying, "In order to get your country back, you have to go down there and fight like hell."
Right. Well,
who are you fighting, Mr. President?
this whole backtracking into it, that it's somebody else's responsibility. They actually think we're going to believe that Donald Trump, during that 3.5 hours, knew enough about procedure and precedence in the order of how things happen in government that he would have known that during that when he has proven to us over and over he doesn't know anything about how this country ran before or after. He just does whatever he thinks is the right, whatever he wants, and he just says, make it so. Because he doesn't understand. He would not. There's nothing anybody can tell me that's going to convince me that that man knew the order on who's supposed to call who or what. He did not. He did not. There's nothing after watching him in actual presidential action for 4 years that's going to convince me. And I knew as a candidate, when he didn't even know what the goddamn 3 governing offices of the United States are, how we divide things up. He had no idea as a candidate, and he still got voted in. He doesn't know the history of the country. He doesn't know procedure. He wrote the damn laws on the documents.
No.
He made them stiffer with his cabinet.
Made the penalties stiffer on the documents.
Right. But they put out that memo I showed that showed the actual procedure you're supposed to follow.
Yeah. Well, that was for his admin, though. and we all know his admin didn't do it.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, no one is going to convince me that he knew this. This is backtracking into whatever I could dig up to try to defend myself, depending on your lawyers to come up with a solution for the shit that you stepped in. Like, it's getting to be like every single thing we've got to talk about today. He's just stepping in it. When they say that getting this subpoena was not the worst thing, that happened to him that week, that speaks volumes because
Mm.
this is unprecedented.
I think what we need to do is share
Uh,
this link with everyone because we can't read everything.
that's right.
But
Okay.
people,
Wait.
if you
Let
if you
me
want to
get my
have
tiny let me get my tiny URL translator and then I'll
if you
do
want
it.
to have a great laugh,
Mhm.
just start at the appendix.
He's here. It's
See
true.
if you
It's
can
true.
tell what's wrong with these pictures.
Yeah. Let me just make a tiny one and then I'll post it for them. Okay. Because unfortunately this one I didn't put in the thing, but I will. Okay. Okay. I did it. Look at me being all professional. Look at this.
You're all good.
Accomplishment by the bear today. I can leave now, right? Like I did something good. done, done for the day. All right, but on that, I just want to show the rest of the pictures of what he's using for evidence
Oh
and see.
God.
And I want to ask everybody: do you recognize any of this? Like, do you guys recognize this? Okay. Besides it being very phallic, I mean, y'all see what's going on here?
Now, can anybody tell me what these are pictures of?
Well, they're altered though because I see Trump flags here. You see this? Yeah, I do. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Because this one looks suspiciously like Obama's inauguration, but like I don't know. I think
I'm
there's a
just
picture
saying.
just like it out there. And I saw a video. I forget who did it, but maybe anybody in the chat could help me. There was at one time a video that was done on these photographs and they actually showed what parts were copied and duplicated and duplicated and duplicated when they did like and added in and they were showing it because there was all that speculation that this is not the amount of people that were there for his for his inauguration. As a matter of fact,
Y-
it made headlines how
It
few
was the
people were there.
first. I'm
Yeah.
not making a light of this, but it was the first lie that the Trump administration made to the American public. That there were over a
Official.
million people
It was the
at his
first official.
inauguration, and everybody was like, "What?"
Yes. It was the first official presidential Trump lie. Yes, it was.
It was and for those of us who watched it live, we're like, mm.
Why didn't we see that?
Fake
Mhm.
media was showing us something different.
Yeah, right, Jin? The DC isn't even a state. How are they gonna call in the National Guard? I get it. I get it, Jin. It's like he doesn't understand how these things work. That's why I can't believe that they're using that as an argument. That he had that all figured out in his head at the time, and he knew what he was doing. There's no way. The other like when you go and you look at that link for this whole document here, the last part of it, he actually lists the swing states and why he's got exception, why he still feels he's president because of what they did wrong. And I just need to remind everybody that each of those states also has suits against him for election um, interference. So like there's issues going on in all those states, especially Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and he's actually laid out his thing, and they might be able to use this too. I hope they do. I
But
hope they do.
why is it that in no states who voted for Trump there was voter fraud?
Because voter fraud only exists when you lose.
Oh,
Did you know that? Because
okay.
apparently there is no voter fraud if you win. Okay.
Amazing.
Mhm. It's just one of those things. It's like an enigma. Listen, you want to talk True Social now? Because listen, dude, Trump had a bad week, a very, very bad week. There's like
Oh
so
my.
much more. But Commander brought it up in chat, so I just want to cover that quickly before her comment gets too far up there. Actually, I probably can't even grab it anymore. Let me see where it was. But yeah, this was true. The whistleblower over at Truth
Yeah,
Social.
one of the head honchos over there.
Yeah, he came out and he said that Trump was violating his own the rules and regulations over there too, and there was going to be a big thing. Yep.
What a
Here we go.
shocker.
All
Trump
right.
violating rules?
You know what? I just Here it is. Okay, there's going to be a new criminal investigation open into Trump Social because Trump violated laws related to the merger between Trump Social and some financing company. I wonder why. I mean, I'm sure that the AG in New York could help you testify to that. Gee, financial shenanigans going on? Who would have thought? Really? Well, guess what happened to that guy over the weekend or this week? The whistleblower. We all know that whistleblowers have federal protection, right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, Trump doesn't believe that applies to him. He got fired anyway.
Got fired anyway.
He
What a
got booted.
shocker.
He got kicked anyway. Hey, I think 3,501 is on its way. And actually, that could be three different cases. That could be a criminal case and a civil case in the state alone, and a federal case because that was a federal violation.
Yep.
So it might be 3,503 by the end of the week or month or whatever. But I'm getting tired, Quiz. I'm getting tired.
And you know the problem here is all these people who are starting to blow the whistle on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because they want their 15 minutes of fame. It's because they don't want their 15 minutes of fame because they know once these problems are discovered, Trump's going to say, it's his fault. It's her fault.
Mm-hmm.
I had nothing to do with it.
It is like their kind of backs are up against the wall. So it's like, you're going to be in it. So how do you want to be in it? How do you want, what control do you want to have over how you're in it? So you got the choice of coming forward and telling the truth and owning up to anything that you did and explaining things, or letting you get called under the carpet, blamed for it, and then Trump reiterating that, yeah, it's all your fault because obviously it's not his. Like, because that's how it's been going with everyone involved politically with him. You're all
or
good
even business involved in any of his businesses.
in his
Anytime
businesses, anything.
something goes wrong, he blames someone else and claims he had no knowledge of it.
True. And on that, like, there was a lot of talk that he has said things about his own family, like about this when things don't go his way, especially about this January 6th stuff. And currently there are leaked tapes right now of Roger Stone, his good buddy, talking really bad about Ivanka and several others, like really bad.
Ivanka and Jared are on the chopping block.
They are, because how dare they have political aspirations? How dare they? Listen, I'm sorry, Daddy. They weren't in the White House just because they love you so damn much. Like, they took those positions because they have political aspirations. They took a lot of shit. It was not easy to be standing next to you. They do deserve a little bit of gravy. Let them have their political aspirations. It's fun. We need content. Let them. But he's pissed. He's I don't want to. I would love to be around for that Thanksgiving dinner. Can you imagine?
Why would you want to be at that Thanksgiving dinner? I even normally, if they weren't involved in all this shit, would you really want to be at that Thanksgiving dinner?
Nope, I don't like ketchup. I'm not going. Apparently,
you want to have a Big Mac during your Thanksgiving dinner?
Actually, not. Oh, and there's a video. Remember, we were joking on January 6th when they voted that he was going to be throwing McDonald's at the TV. Somebody, I wish I had it, but somebody put that video of a baby Donald Trump sitting in front of the TV throwing KFC at the screen. It was like so good. I was like, we almost nailed it. We didn't have the baby part, and we had the food part, but we had the wrong food. It was KFC, which is another of his favorites, by the way. Like, he likes that bulk of the chicken. Okay, but yeah, that was so cool. Yeah, I should have loaded it. I know one of our friends, they're not in the chat right now, had sent it to me right after the stream. I was laughing so hard. It was so good. Well, oh God, there's more.
Oh,
there's more. Where do you want to go now? There's actually more. I mean, not only
we might as well touch on the one that everybody's been following recently. Is, when the FBI broke into Trump's home.
Oh, yes.
And planted the evidence that he stole documents, and now he wants that evidence back because it's really his.
Well, like we said, SCOTUS backed away from that when they said, hey, can you stop the U.S. government from fighting back because I'm trying to sue them? And they said, no. We're going away. But
Yeah.
but but the special master already released, right, most of the
Yep.
documents back to the DOJ, because when they saw what the documents were, they agreed it was in the country's best interest for the Department of Justice to actually continue their investigation on secrets being out there that shouldn't be out
And
there.
what happened right after that? Um,
Mm-hmm.
there was another judge or something. I forget what her name is.
Oh, you mean the Florida Judge Cannon?
Oh, Cannon. She shot her mouth off.
She tried to say, "Hey, wait." She tried to say, "Hey, wait, I'm the judge here." We're like, "Really?
I'll tell you, Special
Really?"
Master, what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it. And oh, by the way, I'm the only one who has jurisdiction on this case.
Wait a minute. This is why they wanted a special master, because oh my god. All right. All right. Well, okay, Cannon. Well, if you can't even remember to put former president in front of his name, I don't think we're trusting you on this one.
And not only
Yeah,
that, but you know,
sketchy.
it's amazing you thought the government would just sit back and not do anything for that, because of course the DOJ said, excuse me, 11th District Court of Appeals, could you deal with this person for us,
They are.
please?
They actually they went right to them. And you know what? Funny thing is, they're kind of quiet yet. They might be looking at it because like they
Oh,
didn't
they've already ruled on
good.
her.
Well, good. They told her that
Yeah.
the records got released, and Donald
Yes.
didn't get them. By the way,
They slapped her down and said, "You don't have the jurisdiction to claim jurisdiction.
because
You're a district
no,
judge, not a federal court judge. So
right, and it's a
here,
federal appeal. Right.
understand where your power is,
Yeah,
and then don't say anything else." And she
I know.
hasn't really. She hasn't said much since then. I think once she figured out that she wasn't going to get away with it, she kind of probably called Trump and said, "I did everything I could. If I do any more, they're just going to impeach me."
This is true. This is true. Hey, Jared, happy Sunday. And you're right. It depends on who they can pin the blame on first. Yes. But at this point, even that judge is trying to save her credibility, isn't she? By speaking out and everything like that. She's getting pushed in all directions, right now, because like Trump was leaning on her hard. You know that the plaintiff was leaning on her very, very hard in their direction. And inciting riots, so to speak. But they wanted that special master, and if I remember correctly, this Judge Deary was actually on Trump's list. They said he was okay, and so did the DOJ. So they got a neutral party, and now they just don't like the way he's doing things. Well,
And Jared is right, though.
mhm,
As he says, to be fair, the DOJ had previous opportunities to go after former politicians for
mhm.
things they haven't or didn't. Uh, can't really blame Trump for thinking he'd get away with it. And
This
you're
is
right
true.
up to a point. I mean,
Mhm.
if Trump hadn't incited an insurrection and tried to overthrow our government, I don't think they'd be going after him like that right now.
Or
I really
or
don't.
or
I
if
think they would have just shut up,
mhm,
let him be off by himself, and
mhm.
die of a coronary because of all the McDonald's.
It's all in the it's all in the how and the why too. Even if he had taken all those documents away, right, for whatever purpose, for whatever he was going to do with them, like we don't even need to speculate. If when they asked for them back more than a year ago and told them that the law, this, that, and like we really need them back, it's for the archives, like this, they don't belong to you. Like he could have just he could have just gave them back instead of putting his heels in the ground and saying no, like F you, like I'll do what I want. And then cry foul when people look like, dude, we're trying to work with you here. They did everything. When I look at that, how that whole indictment was laced out, and you see everything that they did to prevent putting a warrant out for a search at at Mar-a-Lago. They did
Yep.
everything they possibly could to work with them. Okay.
I mean,
And
they
they
did a
got
year
nothing
and a
but
half worth of
obstruction,
negotiations.
lying, disrespect, told they're not even a real organization, told they don't have any authority. It's like, just he practically spits in the face of legal authority, and then
Yes.
wonders why people want to put handcuffs on them. Like, I'm sorry, like you cannot, like if you, He
And
really.
he then wants to blame other presidents
Mhm,
who took stuff home with them when they left the White House. There's one small just point of order you have to say here. Those other presidents didn't take home nuclear secrets.
mhm,
I'm sorry. They didn't take home, things marked top secret, compartmentalized only, and all this other stuff. It just didn't happen. And when you do that,
mhm,
it's like everybody who works in the government and has
mhm,
some sort of um, access to these kind of documents,
mhm.
it would not take not one day, if you took one of those documents home, for you to be arrested and probably charged for treason.
Mhm. Oh, AT2. That's a weak argument. Peaceful protest, yes, with AK-47s. I agree. Like, oh no, no, Jared, no. He directly calls for people protest. Peaceful protest a number of times. Yes,
He
that
did,
that he yes,
I
okay. And that's
I'm
why Michael Flynn is now out there on tour for
yeah.
the Christian nationalists, telling everybody to get their guns ready and to fight to the death for their religious beliefs, because the country is going to hell by the devil.
Oh, I
Like,
I
come
don't
on.
buy
Mm, mm,
manipulation,
mm, 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 mm.
AT2. I really don't. But I guess I just don't have good comprehension of English words. If you want to win your country back, you
Yeah,
have to go
true.
down there and fight like hell.
You true.
Yeah, I really don't know what that means. I
I
mean,
don't.
maybe
I
it meant
don't.
playing patty cakes or jacks or
It's
something.
true.
I
And
don't
and
know.
and I do agree with part of this, Jared. I do agree that the social media is playing up on this a lot. Like, Quiz and I could go on and on about this hysterically and make jokes and fun about it like all day. I do agree about that. But there is truth in the majority of it. There is flagrant disregard here, and no one is above the law. They did everything they could not to impede him while he was president, okay? But
And
there were
and it,
shenanigans going on, just like there are in all, and I will give you this, just like there are in all political races, in all political seats, in all political positions. Yes,
yeah,
I said that.
but
Because
it still does not
ergo the
excuse.
word politics.
Yeah,
Politics is a dirty effing word. And
it's
it's a dirty effing business.
and
That's what
it
it's turned
still does
into.
not
Okay.
excuse.
But it doesn't
Whataboutism
excuse.
does not
Right.
excuse what
Right.
he did.
Exactly. When
You
you
can go,
say,
I don't care if you want to go back to Obama, to Carter, how
I'm
many of
sure
them are alive?
I'm sure we can
To
forward,
Clinton
like Clinton,
and
all of them.
Bush,
We can
and go
find
after all of
plenty.
them.
We can find
Fine,
plenty.
go
We can
do it.
find plenty. Yes.
But
But what
we
you're not going to find, you can't do anything to me because I'm above the law. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find a statement from Obama saying you can't press charges on me. I'm the president. You're not going to find it, right?
well,
Hmm.
we'll agree to disagree. But I will say this: whataboutism is not going to excuse what President Trump or former President Trump has done.
Hmm.
I mean, one, he was involved
Hmm.
in inciting an insurrection.
Hmm.
Two, he
Yeah.
has these documents, and when asked for them back, refused, then sent back a portion of them, but none of them were the ones that were really important. He was going to hold on to the top secret ones because,
Yeah. Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. No,
You
I get
try
it.
that at your job. Just take one top secret document home, and when they say, "Do you have it?" you say, "Yes, but I'm not giving it back." See how quickly you weren't in jail.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And you know what, Jared, I agree that some of that get your gun stuff is that. But I can tell you, just for me, what I heard in the speech that I heard, which was not clipped, it did have what you're saying about that, about getting, not letting them take your guns for that reason. But he did absolutely promote that they needed to be armed in all of their homes to get ready for the religious war that was coming. He said this. I heard him
The
say it.
what kind of war?
A religious war
A
that was
religious war.
okay. So Jared,
Wow,
I
I
understand.
thought we
I
weren't a we
understand.
weren't a nation bound on religion, but maybe I
We're
just
not.
got it all wrong in
No, no,
civics
no.
class.
And this is what got me. So I understand your point, Jared, and I get that part. I get on both sides that they do that, and they absolutely do. But that's not what I'm speaking on here. I'm speaking specifically on Flynn calling to riot and arming people about something and causing this riotous attitude about religious and politics. And I get what you're saying, but I heard him actually tell them to arm themselves to get ready, that every home needed one, because everybody else out here who didn't believe like they did wanted to take it all away from them. And it is really crazy. And that's what I'm speaking on, the craziness of Michael Flynn's speech and his tour right now. But it's not about the get your guns or protect your guns. It's not about that amendment. It is underliningly what he was speaking on, but it was bigger than that for me, the way he was speaking and what he was actually presenting at the time. It scared the heck out of
Hmm.
me. And that's why I keep mentioning this tour, because it is scary, because what it could do to the country. When you take a minority of religious belief and put a political power behind it, like, what do you want? Iran? You want fucking Iran, people? Is that what you want? Like, because that's it. Like, that's what we're looking at. All right.
That's what the
And
GOP is trying to do right now.
no, and I'm not trying to be like an alarmist or anything like that. I'm an actual reasonable person, and I love to look at both sides of it. I can actually argue both sides of this, gun control, all of it. I think you all have a right to your opinions. You all are right in some way in what you're saying. There is no right or wrong. There are opinions and how we look at it. But when it comes to the inciting of riot to make this big divide and to cause, like, this is fearful for our country, is what I'm looking at. That tour. That tour alone there is pretty scary to me. The things that are coming out of his mouth. And it's not just about whether people are allowed to have guns in the United States or not. It's about how they're going to use them, Jared, and what they're going to use them for, and what he's promoting.
The other thing that the 11th Circuit Appeals Court said this week
Mm-hmm.
was that the special master could go ahead with his expedited plan
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have to give Trump until January 2023, which would mean all the people who got voted in
Mm.
here in November would be in power. Didn't
Yeah.
have to wait till 2023 to continue their work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, bypassing this whole idea that we're just going to stall, stall, stall until we get more people into power and then we can just shut everything down. This is how Donald Trump has done his business.
Mm-hmm.
Sue, sue, sue until it gets to be so bothersome for the other party that they just walk away from it.
Yep.
And now it's stall, stall, stall until we can gain more power and then just stop this whole thing.
Well, yeah, it's commonly used, the stall factor, for anything like that, like whether they're doing it politically or legally. Like, people just do that like constantly. um yeah. um eh, hmm. Well, let's go. All right, so let's move on from Christian nationalists in this part, and because there's more, believe it or not. Like, there's more, okay, as far as legally.
There's more?
All right. Yes, there's more. There's two more lawsuits that I've been looking at that have come to light a little more. First of all, there was a bunch of squawking going on in the beginning of the week before Trump's week got really, really bad. There was also that he was going to sue CNN for defamation. Okay,
Yes.
he's gonna sue the news organization for defamation. And he filed it. Okay, and that's interesting. That's the word I'm going to use. That is really interesting to me, because, like, defamation's tough when you're a political figure. I say this all the time. That's a huge mountain to climb. Okay. Mm, uh,
Well,
hmm.
the filing itself is probably more interesting than the facts of the
What
case.
I could say I didn't find many spelling mistakes, but there were grammar mistakes everywhere. And that originally, like, first of all, they like to submit everything by letter. Like, this is weird. Like, they don't even write like
Yes, it
real
is
legal briefs.
weird, and I'm
Although
thinking the
this one,
courts are getting real
yeah,
tired of it.
I think, but like, so they answer back and forth, by letter. Like, that's been going on back and forth. And I noticed that because there's another suit from years ago that's coming up. Actually, the judges are getting a little annoyed at the delays. Um, During the campaign, a woman came forward with some allegations against then President Trump in regards to an incident that happened in, of all places, New York. Okay, in a department store. Uh, she accused him of assault. Okay, I'm not going to get into the details of that because that's not what her lawsuit's about. Because obviously it was many years ago. She's saying like 20 years ago. All right. So obviously, statute of limitations and all this, you're not going to come forward with any of that. She did come out and PR slam him about it for a while. But then, because of while he got voted in as president, he made actual statements about her personally. She's filing for defamation against him. She brought that suit in 2019 against him for defamation, for him saying things like, I don't know the exact quotes, but they were along the lines are, I wouldn't do that to her because of like who she, like, as if she wasn't good enough, and about her character and about lying or this, that, and several other things that you would say personally about somebody that's personally going against you. But the whole thing about this case is like whether or not he was acting as the president at the time. If he was in performance of presidential duties while he's slamming somebody who's trying to accuse him of something. Okay. Whether it affected the country or not, and whether that could actually be considered acting in presidential duty. That's what's been an appeal for years. Okay. Not along with, Donald Trump's actually delays, stays, trying to get it tossed out, coming up with everything he can not to sit for the deposition. The lawyers have finally had enough about waiting for discovery. They went to the judge, and the judge just recently put out an opinion that that's done. Like, we are going to discovery on this case. The defamation case is valid. We're going to be in appeal with Washington Supreme Court or forever waiting for whether or not this was in act of your presidential duty. Because just because somebody says you were the president at the time and on tour giving speeches does not mean that the statements you made about that woman were protected by presidential duty. Because otherwise, the president can do and say whatever he wants about anybody. It looked a little
Mm-hmm.
personal, and that's what the appeal's about. When you acted on personal business while you were the president, do you got presidential immunity? Now that's huge legally. This is the hook here. I mean, this is what is fascinating and will set precedent here, because we must, if we are thinking rationally, agree that there are two. He's a man, okay, not an enigma. Neither is any other president. Okay. So there are times when you're dealing with your personal stuff and you're dealing with your duty, just like you're an employee for any company, any business, anywhere, anywhere, anywhere. Okay. When you consider the presidential duties as a job, and they use the word employment throughout the brief. So yes, we are considering presidential duties as the performing of your job. Okay. Where is the line on when you're addressing personal stuff, doing your job, and when you're not? Can it be separated out? And should it be? And that's what's going on. That's why it's taking so long. Okay. That this is fascinating to me. Personally, I believe that if you act and that your personal business is not protected during your employment, because I assure you that if you break the law while you are an agent of any governmental agency or any other kind of business, you're not protected under any contract that you have for it. Okay. Now, not that his statement broke the law. He may have caused him damages for defamation, but it's not like he broke the law. But my point being, personal business that you are taking care of or anything related to you personally is not covered by your employment contracts just because you're employed. It really has to be related to it. Yeah. Like, you have to be actually doing something in relationship to it. And that's what this defamation case is all about. The holdup on this defamation case is all about. Plus them dragging their feet for discovery. Now the judge has finally ordered that he needs to go through discovery and sit for deposition. They're done waiting for him. But there was a paragraph in there that blew my socks off. Just and I would like to share that with you. And I know I'm probably going to get some crap for this, aren't I, quiz? But
Nah, uh-uh.
why not? I'm gonna get crap
By the
anyway.
way,
So yeah.
if any of you who are out there in troll land thinking about giving Bear crap, remember that it needs to come through me first. I will respond. Bear
Nobody
won't
goes for
respond.
you.
I
Nobody
will
goes for you.
respond. You want a response because you're a troll. So you can troll me all you want.
We've been pretty lucky today. There's no trolls. Like we're all friendly conversations going on.
Yeah, but I still want the trolls.
Charlie says it would be fun to have Bush spell Enigma. It would, because that man could not spell. You know what,
Crazy.
Charlie? You remind me of what used to be my worst fear. Well, what I used to be horrified as a voter, right? Was that Bush was representing us as the United States president all over the world, because I thought he appeared to be too uneducated and like
Wait a
like,
minute.
and I wanted a well-spoken, you know, president that could speak. And he was, you know what? And Michelle Obama likes him. He's got a good sense of humor. I got no problem with him now, because like, be careful what you think is the worst thing. I mean, I remember drinking a whole bottle of wine and pitching a fit because we had a dick and a Bush in the White House at the same time. Like, I was pissed. I was so
What
pissed.
did
I
you
was
think
so
about when you had a quail as a VP who couldn't spell potato?
Oh, well, listen, I had the same problem with Gerald Ford falling all over the place. Like, I'm sorry. Like I was just like, I expect dignified, like, I know, I pipe dreams, whatever. Like, I know rose-colored glasses. But I always look at it as very, very, I don't know, presidential. I have an image of presidential that many fail. Many have failed. And I just, but I get the spelling thing, Charlie, because that drove me crazy. Like, just spell check, dude. Like, don't talk. Don't talk. Just don't talk. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, all the way back on, this is also listed in the description if you guys want to read this finding. This is opinion from the judge in the court, and the judge's name is Kaplan, Lewis Kaplan. And they're going through as to why there will not be another stay based on waiting for the appeal on whether or not the employment issue of the president at the time, and whether his statements are covered by this employment agreement about the president and blah, blah, blah. They want to go through discovery anyway to speed things along, because it's been more than 2 years. They're like, forget it. We need to, because once that happens, we're on go, and we don't want to take another 3 years. And the last point that they make, they go on and on about it. And then the last point that they make on page 14, paragraph 2, they go, finally, as noted at the onset, plaintiff claims, plaintiff being Carrol, Jean Carrol, that the defendant assaulted her years ago. As the statute of limitations had long since expired when she brought this action, the claim she asserts here is that which was still timely when this case was filed, a claim for defamation that allegedly occurred in the context of Mr. Trump's far more recent denial that he assaulted the plaintiff. That was the only remaining timely claim, because he did that while he was president, like during the statute of limitations. But the world has changed since this case began. Let me read that last sentence. But the world has changed since this case began. New York has enacted a revival statute, the Adult Survivors Act, effective November 24th of 2022. A claim for damages for the alleged assault will be revived, free of the existing bar of the statute of limitations. And plaintiff intends to sue Mr. Trump for the alleged assault itself. Those questions will be addressed in that lawsuit. The judge just told them, we need to clear this lawsuit up because you got another one coming. Like, we need to get this going. This isn't going away. That was astounding to me. That I don't believe has ever happened. Like, this is new. This is groundbreaking. This assault, and I hate to use the other word because some people get really, really
Alleged
upset.
assault. Let's go with that.
Let's go with alleged assault. Okay. And the claim is more than 20 years old. A long time ago. And the judge is actually putting it out there that the plaintiff has already said that that's what they plan to do in using it to get deposition and discovery moved forward in the defamation case. In other words, you think you got trouble now, like there's more coming, and we just need to wrap this up. Like we need to wrap this up because the other charge, whether he was like he can't be protected whether he was president or not. Like, and he wasn't at the time that it occurred. And so if they can actually have a case about it occurring and then him making statements about it, there's nothing in regards to employment that's going to protect him on that. So it is all related, and the judge did have the authority to speak on it. Because they're right. It's going to come out that it's not related in the long run anyway. The way that letter, that opinion is written by Judge Kaplan is that they totally believe that the DC Supreme Court is taking their time because it is a heavy precedent issued there. It really matters what they say in regards to this, on whether these words that he said can be taken out of presidential duty and put into personal inflection and be charged. That's serious stuff. It's never happened before. We have never been here before. Trump again has put us in uncharted waters. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I think legally, if you look at how logically, to me, not even legally, because I'm not a lawyer, but logically, I think I can be pretty logical. When I look at it, I can see that they can separate it, and I can see new precedent getting stated here, in that the protections of the presidential office will not be 100% blanket from now on. After that, I could see it. Government, it's not even just the presidential office. This goes for all government officials, in the action of their duties, cannot be charged in civil actions for what they do. And that protects police officers, that politicians, government officials of all level. Okay. It's, in other words, you can't sue them because they were doing their job, if they were doing it within their job. But if they're doing something outside of their job, should they be open for suit? It can't be blanket. Like, just because you are the president, you can't be sued. Just because you are a police officer, you can't be sued. That can't exist. It is written so that while you're performing your duties as a police officer, you can't be sued for those duties.
Right.
That was the intent of the law. That was the intent. Okay. To prevent frivolous lawsuits, prevent like the shenanigans that can go on in our quite litigious country, and I understand it, but there's got to be a boundary. There's got to be a way to get, when there's total wrong being done, taken care of, but
That's
yeah,
right.
but that was a surprise to me. I don't know about you, Quiz, but that kind of blew my socks off.
That yeah, this is going to be one of those. It's going to be appealed. We all know that.
Oh yeah, like if defamation, they're like 2.5 years into this, and nobody's
Yeah.
even sat for a deposition.
And I'm
or
pretty sure
discovery.
that
Yeah.
my gut feeling is the Supreme Court is going to see the big picture on this. That if they just say, we have to start going through line by line, what's personal, what's business, what's presidential, what's not, then that opens up the whole qualified immunity argument when you have police officers who,
Right.
not in the line of duty, shoot somebody. Well, what was he talking about before? What happened
Yeah,
before?
yeah, that's
Was that,
crazy. Like, yeah,
and was
that's
that, and
and
then you're going to get flooded with lawsuits.
right, and this is what the law is supposed to protect, that kind of stuff. Like
Right.
keep that out of it, But I
Right.
guess it
So
depends. Like, when did he
it's
say
going to
it?
be
Did he
interesting.
say it?
I'd love to. I'm anxious to hear what they'll do, and I would love to believe that they'll come up with some sort of very smart way of doing it.
Mhm,
But it is a Supreme Court that is filled with conservatives right now,
mhm,
and I think they'll just whitewash it and say, no, you can't do this, and it'll go back
mhm.
to the way it is.
Yeah. And that's interesting that this judge wants to push forward on it, knowing the other case is coming and that there is no presidential immunity against the other
Yeah.
case at all. So uh I I'm I think that this judge, the way it reads is that they are actually really convinced that this was not within presidential duty. Like it depends on if he said it during an interview, if he said it during a campaign, if he said it during like from the Oval Office. Like, I don't know where he said it. I don't know enough about when and how he said the statements. In the actual filings, they have plenty on it. Because this was in the Washington court first, and it went all over the place, and then it got kicked to where it is now. So the original filing is just like 201 pages of all the stuff that happened before.
Mm.
Um, and from prior to 2019, it's been going on for a while. This is not new. His campaign knew about it.
But again,
I'm pretty sure.
this is a perfect example of Trump.
Hmm. But what I don't
Delay,
understand.
delay, delay. Hopefully she'll
Hmm.
die, or she'll just get
Hmm.
frustrated with nothing happening and just drop it.
That's what's so frustrating about him, though, because if he knew this case, he knew this case was filed, right? He knew what they were going to be saying. He knew what she was saying about the charges. Why would he speak on it? Like, why
I mean, it's
even bring it
like
up?
I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with
Hmm.
what the judge wants to do. I mean, I'd
Hmm.
love to believe that this court would, look into it and say, well, we see the problem here, but I
Hmm.
just can't believe that this court especially is going to, or the Supreme Court especially is going to
Hmm.
do anything other than just slap it back and say no,
Hmm.
and not give an opinion on it. Just say no, they don't want to get into this.
Hmm.
They're going to take the coward's way out,
Hmm.
and it's just how this court is.
Okay, so let's see. Our poll says that 76% of people believe that the January 6th hearing did not destroy their patriotic life. Thank you. 24% of you do think that it did, and I'm sorry. I hope we get it back for you. I do. I hope something happens to get your patriotic life back. But he is actually an employee. Like when the presidential position is an employee of the government, and that's what that law is about. Alice, I agree. So he does have protection there. I'm not saying he doesn't. There is a blanket immunity there. Blanket immunity, the way it's written right now. Um, but yep. Yet, Jin, the special master suggests that there's a common subservient quiz. What?
Uh, yeah, special master subversion.
Oh, it's a joke. Okay. I thought I missed something. I read all the articles, Gene. I thought you knew something I didn't, but thank you. Okay. Yeah, and it would be the people. Who knows about that? We're all getting yanked. Anyway. Mm. Well, I don't know. I think we covered all the lawsuits, but before we go, do you have any opinion on whether or not that he's going to actually respond to that subpoena?
Hmm. I'll stick with my prediction that I made Thursday, that he will not show up for the subpoena.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
they will have to drag him into court,
Mm-hmm.
and that court will rule that he is in contempt,
Mm-hmm.
and he will not show up for that. And then that court will have to put out an arrest warrant on a former president.
Mhm.
And then he'll start calling the court saying, we need to negotiate this. This is unprecedented that you try and arrest a former
Mhm.
president.
That sounds
Blah,
normal.
blah, blah.
That sounds just like Bannon and Stone and the rest of them. Didn't they all do that? Yeah, okay. Um,
Yeah, exactly. It's
and
exactly what they all
and
did.
here's the thing. What do you think he's gonna say when they finally, after like years, get him in there? What is he gonna say? Like,
You- Here's the problem that I'm having right now with
why
Trump's
doesn't he just
lawyers.
go and plead the fifth? You know he's going to in 2 years after all of these. Like he's just gonna go in there just like Stone, just like Bannon, just like Eastman, just like Clark.
There's
He's gonna
if
say,
people don't understand this whole idea of why you hire a lawyer, it's because the lawyers know what they're supposed to do in court, how it's supposed to go, and what they can say and what they can't. Most smart lawyers will tell their clients, if their client says, "Well, I want to do this," and a really smart lawyer, if they know that it's absolutely going to piss a judge off, will say, no, you don't want to do that. And here's why. Well, unfortunately, Trump's lawyers now aren't that smart, or they just don't care,
Mm-hmm.
because now it really looks like they're allowing the former president himself
Mm-hmm.
to type out these letters and just send them in their name, because they make absolutely no sense half the time. And you got to start wondering if it's, if these really came from the attorneys, then these attorneys should probably be brought up on
Mm-hmm.
charges of being incompetent. But if they were not brought up, if they were not typed up by them, and it was just Trump, they were just parroting what Trump said, then again, they need to be taught that they need to control their client, because quite frankly, the last things that he sent to the courts have just been laughable. I mean, what they sent to the 11th appeals court, it's laughable. What they sent about the CNN thing, it's laughable. I don't even know how the CNN case is going to get past, the first purview of a judge. I can see a judge reading that and going, huh?
Yep.
Who did this? Was it his son?
Some of this stuff, the way it's written,
Did
but
Barron write this? I thought he
yeah.
was still in high school.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
So,
So
yeah,
last
and
poll.
and the
Go
other thing
on.
going on in Trump world right now is we also have his attorneys turning on one another.
Really?
Christina Robb, for example,
Hmm.
who supposedly was the one who signed the document saying those were all the documents we had, is now saying, oh, no, 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 no. I never really represented Mr. Trump. It was these other guys. So while she's being thrown under the bus, she's throwing them under the bus.
Okay.
They say raps abandon a sinking ship, and we're
Yes.
seeing it happen.
Yeah. We do. We do. Nope. He's not, Rob's. He's not. I don't ever see him wearing the orange jumper. Like, as much as we all are outraged that he thinks he's above the law and this and that and the other thing, negotiations always happen, and I know, call me out. I'm ready. I'm ready. I got my thick skin on today. But I do believe it is in the country's best interest to negotiate for that not to happen, to settle everything right, to prove that the laws are there for a reason, get them to admit that things need to be a certain way, and negotiate to keep out of prison and just set it right with the country. I don't think him being in jail in an orange suit is going to settle anything in our country. It's just going to make things worse. I do. I actually believe that. As wrong as he is acting, um, in regards to the documents, I think him coming out as an ex-president and actually saying he should have did better would be better for our country. Does that make any sense? Like, I really think that he should say that mistakes were made and he's trying to set it right, and that would be best. But we'll see.
And we don't have to worry about that, I'm afraid.
I know. I can't help it. I'm a
We
dreamer.
would like a lot of things from Mr. Trump, but I don't think that's going to be one of them.
But
Actually, him saying I was I was I was
stop. I know. No, but you do admit that would be like the best, right? To say that the rules are there for a reason, and I should have did this with the documents, and everything's been returned, everything's right. I didn't do this with them, I didn't do that with them. We're all safe, everything's cool. Like, maybe that's a band-aid. I know I'm gonna get called out. Like, you're just putting a band-aid on it, Bear. You just want it to go away. I actually just want things to settle for the country. And I think putting him in an orange suit behind bars is really gonna just contribute to the great divide that we have, and the riotous attitude that many have about it. Like, the dangerous attitude that a lot have, that it's fueling. That's what worries me, you know. Well, so I don't know.
Well, let's see.
Whoa! I never
Did,
thought of this. Is this
did we talk
possible?
about Mr. Eastman yet?
No, we didn't. Go ahead while I ponder this.
No, unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Because if that happened, we could go back and annul a lot of presidents.
Oh,
That kind of power would be dangerous. Because anytime the other
mm,
political party got into power, they just immediately wipe out everything that was done during former admin. Uh, and
wait a
I'm not
minute.
even getting into the whole executive, what do they call those? Executive letters, legislation that we've now had with Trump and with Biden. One to fix the other, but still, it still happened. And I just don't like the idea of legislating by executive letters. It's,
Mhm.
it's a bad idea. Shouldn't happen, but it does. And for some reason, the courts aren't willing to step in and stop it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't think it will ever happen that you're going to see a president annulled. I mean, the only thing I could see happening is if it was proven that Trump was an active
No.
um, actor in as a Russian spy,
Well, even the
that he
um,
would be, you know, vilified
vilified but not
throughout
annulled.
the history. But
He would not
they
be
couldn't,
annulled. Yeah.
yeah, they couldn't just go back and say, well, anything that happened during the Trump era, we're just going to reverse.
No, I get it. No, not at all. You know what? Everything I'm reading, I googled. I just googled. You know, you can't be annulled based on like he was of legal age. He went through the campaign. He did get voted in. There with the first presidency. Although there was some speculation about China and Russia interfering with the election process in that election. It wasn't in regards to voting machines or the process. It was in regards to misinformation on the internet, social media, trying to turn the tide, which happens in politics all the time. Like, so there really wasn't anything that they could pinpoint that they could say it was. They would have to prove that it was a faulty election. They can't. There's nothing else as far as his candidacy where he did not qualify. We don't get to go back and say just because we didn't like some things that they did that they didn't exist. Well, history is history, and I'm kind of against rewriting it. Our country voted him in, and our country dealt with it for 4 years, and we still are. And he decided he liked it, and he doesn't want to go, and he
Yep.
thinks he's still the president.
He wants
Um,
to be king.
he's still the president as far as he's concerned, and everything he did is beyond reproach because he has presidential immunity. It seems to be his answer to all of it. Um, he doesn't want to get into whether he should have did it or not. He's like, you're not allowed to talk about it because I have presidential immunity, which, that's not going over very well either. But eh, what are you gonna do? But I think we covered it all. Like he's got a lot of lawsuits. We got CNN, the United States, Carrol, the New York, the AG in New York. We've got that's not even the financial lawsuits that are against these companies, which are in
Yeah.
the thousands. I kid you not. If you just Google it, how many lawsuits has Trump been in? And they're gonna come up with 3,500 as of last night. Um, and who knows how many more. He's quite litigious, you know. Yeah, mhm. There's definitely still a lot going on, but I'm curious to see what happens here. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. We're gonna see what happens with the special master. What's gonna come forward now that they've been denied the
Yep.
appeal to the Supreme Court. They don't seem to be very pleased about it.
No.
Um,
And
we'll. Mm-hmm.
no, go ahead.
No, we'll have to see if CNN lawsuit has anything like they're going to file. Of course, CNN's going to file to have it squashed,
Oh
but we'll
yeah.
see. I would hope they've got a lot of lawyers over there. That'll be entertaining.
The thing
Um,
about this special master, unfortunately, this is going to take at least until October 30th or November 30th. We know
hmm
that,
right.
which should a little over 2 weeks away now. We're going to be holding our midterm
hmm
elections. Everybody's job's up for grabs.
hmm
So it is important, once again, for everyone to realize your vote is needed.
Yeah.
Go and vote. I don't care if you live in a state like I do where, they're going to vote for idiots no matter what you do. Still go and vote. Um, if you don't vote, don't complain.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
stop
it's true.
complaining if you're not going to take part in the political process. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be part of, trying to change the system, don't complain about your system.
Exactly. It is quite difficult to have, when you get into these discussions with people and they've got very strong opinions on how things should go, and then you ask them, well, did you make that known during the vote? They say, why bother to vote? Like, my vote doesn't matter. And I'm like, what? What? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every vote
Okay.
counts. So just get out
Hey.
and vote. I mean, you may get surprised. Your vote may be the one where, the two candidates are tied, deadlocked, dead even, dead even, and your vote's the one that puts it over the edge. I'm not saying
Hmm.
it'll happen, but
Hmm.
what happens if it is and you
let,
didn't vote?
let me see if I can tie these up in a nutshell for true MG. You just got here and like you're asking me if something Trump today. Oh my gosh. First of all, I recommend the replay because I couldn't possibly in a couple sentences tell you everything he did in the last week. He had a terrible, terrible week. But just
Yes.
just briefly to surmise, the January 6th hearing decided to subpoena him, that his testimony is going to be required on whether or not he acted inappropriately during this insurrection attempt. Okay, so that happened, but that wasn't the worst of it. That's not even the worst of it. The New York Attorney General filed asking for the court to actually demand that Trump's assets not be transferred at all because of all the lawsuits against him, and properties not be listed. It's going to really infringe upon his business and his maneuverability. Well, she's using past history on what he's done to try to say, hey, he's going to try to get out of this lawsuit that I filed for $245 million against his bad business practices in my state, and asking for everything to be froze. That had to hurt a little bit. Then there was SCOTUS. The Supreme Court of the United States turned their back on his appeal against his suit against the United States in regards to the documents that he was storing at Mar-a-Lago inappropriately, so they say. Mm-hmm. And they all just unanimously said, nope, it's not for the Supreme Court to decide, and threw it right back down. They will not go against the appeal that was already put forward with the regular state, and it's been settled, and they're not touching it. And that had to hurt. Ouch. Okay. Social. So what's his platform? Truth
Truth
Social.
Social.
Yeah, you see, it sticks in my throat. Truth Social. Okay. Donald Trump's platform, his new platform, Truth Social, is also under investigation for bad business practices in the starting up of that company and the financial shenanigans that may have gone on to do it. And the whistleblower, a big person up there in the corporation, actually came forward with the information. And even though there's federal protection for that person under the Whistleblower Act, somehow or other he got fired in the last couple of days. Anyway, so there's that. I see a couple of lawsuits coming about that, you know. Um, the other lawsuit was the personal lawsuit for defamation by Jean Carrol. There was a statement by the judge there that says he's got bigger things coming down the pike. That it is true that the statute of limitations law for adult survivors changes in the state of New York, where the offenses happened, in November, becomes effective November of this year, 2022, where adult survivors with extenuating circumstances are going to be allowed to prosecute or at least bring charges against their the accused for assaults. And this was in a defamation case that he has been holding up for a couple of years, and they said, well, you better sit for your deposition and discovery now, basically is how it reads, because there's more coming down the pike. And actually put that in writing as an opinion in that trial, in that case, that civil case for defamation that she's running. So he's had a really busy week. Did I miss any of them? I mean, there's quite a few. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and he's suing CNN. Yeah, he sued CNN too.
Yeah.
By the way,
And the filing looks like a sixth grader wrote it. So
yeah, there's no, it's kind grammatically, it's like very difficult to read. But anyway, so that's the cherry on top. He's suing CNN on top of all, as if he doesn't have enough going on.
they're
Like,
being
yeah,
mean to me is
yeah.
pretty much what it
Mm-hmm.
says.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And his answer to the January 6th committee was, I'm still the president, damn it. No, but that's not what it said. But it's basically how it read, right? I mean, when you get down to the end, you go, basically, I just read, I'm still the president, damn it, leave me alone. Yeah, no, yeah, it is a very, very busy week, True. Thank you for coming by. On that, I think we're going to wrap up. I kept you a long time. I'm sorry,
I think
Quiz.
it's a good time.
It's a good time. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for playing with me up there. Will Donald Trump answer the subpoena within a reasonable time, like a year? And I put maybe up there and are you kidding? Just joking around. And you guys went with are you kidding? Because like, yes. No, I'm not kidding. I actually want him to answer it. I do. Halls of justice and everything. Oh, I know, Charlie. It did feel like that, and a lot of people did feel the same way, and I get that. And it's unfortunate. It does. And I'm not shame. I don't want to shame people for not voting when you have a valid reason, but just to say it won't matter, like that one bothers me because, of course, it won't if you don't. Like if you don't, you're just actually voting for whatever bad is going to happen, like by not being in it. But I get that was an actual conflict with a lot of people because you didn't want either one of them, and you don't really feel like
I
you
will
had a
be honest.
choice. Mm-hmm.
I was like Charlie. I didn't want to vote. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, the person that was running was just so horrendous that I was like, okay, there is a
Right.
definite lesser of two evils here.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, one may be a senile old man, but the other one wants to overthrow my
Mm-hmm.
government. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to vote for the senile old man who may just, sit and drool on himself for
Mm-hmm.
4 years. That would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
4 years of no tweets, no social media where a president screams every 2 minutes. I would
Exactly.
be happy with that. I really would.
You know,
Can we
you,
just get back to being stable?
yeah. And that's it. Like, and I don't like to disclose who I voted for either, but of course it was Hillary, and I wasn't happy about it. I will admit that she was not who I thought was the appropriate candidate for the party at the time. She was same old, running against somebody who was offering to upturn the whole system. We really needed somebody younger. We needed somebody more inventive, not Bernie, because Bernie's been trying like for so long that it's like, what, you're finally gonna toss him in? Like, no.
Well, you did say
Bernie's
someone younger, right?
I said someone younger. And this is why, like everybody, no, there were a lot of people around me here on the East Coast that were all for Bernie, and they were all younger people, but it was his politics that they wanted, not necessarily him. Now, if you could put some of Bernie's politics on some of these younger politicians, which it does exist. Look at Bento, look at Pete Buttigieg. How do you say his last name? You know who I'm talking about. Pete Buttigieg? Buttigieg? Is that it?
Yeah, but he'll never get elected, and we know it.
Why not? He's an official. He's an
Do
official
you
now.
want me to say why not? Do
No,
you
but
seriously want me to
that's
say?
wrong. If that's the reason, then why the hell does people like Hillary get up there for? Because we got the same issue there: voting a woman as president, voting a gay man as president, voting a black man as president. Okay, the black man happened.
Like voting a woman for
Okay.
president.
Okay,
Oh, wait, never mind.
the women have run. Okay, so no, I'm not going to say that will never happen because as long as I'm alive, I'm going to be forcing the issue that should happen. It shouldn't be an issue, Quiz, and I know it is, and I know that they're trying to make it one. But his politics should be the issue, and not who he's married to. Period.
I
Okay.
agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately,
I
I think
know,
I think most
rose-colored
of this country
glasses.
would
Yeah, I get
just
it. Yeah.
shiver if that was it,
Hey,
and they would not vote for him.
I get it, but it's about time the country grew up.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? Like, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm calling you immature Americans. I'm calling you brats. I'm calling you entitled. I'm calling you calling it the way I see it. It's about time we start looking at the real world. Okay. And
It'd be
join
nice
them.
if we would just elect somebody who was, I don't know, qualified for the job.
Oh, come on now. Oh, come on. The current president.
Hey, trust me, as far as I was concerned, President Biden was qualified for this 4 years. Just keep it steady.
This, and please,
just keep it steady, bud.
That's all we wanted. Don't rock the boat. Just like hold. It's like, I hate to say it, like, because I like Joe Biden. I like the old Joe Biden politician when Obama had to worry what came out of his mouth. Like fighting Joe.
Yeah. I just think his better years
Yeah.
are past him.
Listen,
That's all.
Joe's so East Coast. Like you gotta open mouth, insert foot, like all the time. Okay. And I like that about him. At least it was honest. Okay. Like, he was like gonna say how it was, whatever. He was not exactly a smooth politician. And I get that. And they worked well together. But we have to admit that this is like a placeholder. This is a placeholder for what's to come. He's like doing what he can. Right now, he's not out there campaigning that he's going to be running in 2024. He's actually everywhere he goes announcing new legislation, which I have to applaud. Everybody's going like, what is he doing? He's not campaigning or anything. I'm like, he shouldn't be campaigning. He should be saying what he's doing in his presidency. And I got to applaud him for that. He's actually
Yeah.
working on legislation. He's
I
actually
think he
going to each state.
understands he won't
Yeah.
win the vote this next
I
time.
don't think he
so.
wants to. He did this for his party. Do you think he actually wanted to get back in the ring after how
No, I
they've
think the
been
only
beat up?
reason Biden ran was to get Trump out of office. That's the only reason I
He
think he
did
ran.
it for the people. He did it for the party. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I believe that. I can't speak for him, but when I look at it, that's what I see. And I think he understands what's going on. And I hope that a strong candidate comes forward. I don't want a controversial one. I don't want an
Yeah.
old school one. I want someone that fits what's going on now in what is like 2022. Like, can you bring us into the future? I don't want a 1950s politician. I don't want old school. I don't want the way it was. I want someone willing to listen and make the changes. And actually, okay, come for me if you must, but I'm going to stand on this hill. Actually negotiate with the other side a little bit to actually get something done. I'm done with this.
Yep.
You're just wrong. I'm not listening to you anymore. That's bullshit. That's not how politics works. Okay. Mm-mm. That's not how it's supposed to be. We have two parties for a reason, two sides. You're supposed to listen to each other. You're supposed to come up with a compromise for the people. That's the real game here,
For
not win or
all the
lose.
people.
Right. The real game is not you win and I lose, or I lose, or I win and you lose. The real game here is compromising for the people, because let us remind the politicians that's your damn job. Compromising
Yes. I
for
say we
the
just
people.
vote everybody out and put a whole new slate of people in.
Yeah, me and you, let's run. That's it. That's what
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't vote me in either.
Apparently, I don't qualify because I'm actually from South Africa and I'm 115 years old. Yeah, so there you
Well,
go.
you said it. I
No,
didn't.
you said it. You told you to.
You're the one who just said it.
I hear it every day now because of you. Like,
Wow. You heard it here. She admits it.
I am not admitting it. I said rumor. Like, because I'm not from South Africa either. Everybody knows I'm from Jersey. But South Africa just sounds cooler, I guess. They can say it if they want. All right. Oh, now
All
it's
right.
split. No and 41%. Okay, that's nice. Cool. And we got 17 votes. And that's pretty cool that we got all these votes. We have less people here than voted. More people voted than are here. I love you and your socks, people. You guys are great. All right. Anyway, that's it. That's the show. We're done. And we did 2 hours. We gave you bonus because, we missed you last week. But,
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to try not to think about Trump for the rest of the day. You think I'll be successful? How about you?
For me, the rest of the day, I'm gonna sit here all by myself and wonder how long a damn football game takes.
Oh, is it a football? Oh, we're not even going to have that. That will make
Yeah.
us be here for another hour. We're not going to talk about football.
Sports ball.
Sports ball. Okay. Yeah. But thank you everyone who was here, everybody who hung out and had the conversation in the chat. Whatever your politics are, we do like to hear it. Thank you for trolls for not coming unless you actually had something really to say. That seems to be working because I didn't have to put subscribers on. Like, I'll listen to you if you actually have something to say, but not like the bullshit stuff. Like,
Yep.
Yeah,
thanks everybody for being here. We always appreciate you.
We do.
We appreciate your opinions too.
We do. And thanks, Jared, for the conversation in the chat. I like when he pushes me on issues because I do want to see the whole thing. And he sees it like from both sides very clearly a lot of the times. And he sees why people say what they say. I know, Colin, that's the conversation we're not trying to get into. So we're not here for a whole other hour about Yankee football or real football. because they're gonna kick me out of the country pretty soon because I agree with you. Football is actually English style. The
I
stuff
can
they
only
call
call it what they
football,
call it, Colin. I can't make up a new name for it. What am I
yeah,
supposed to
I
say?
know.
Big, strong men wearing pads and
Yeah,
showing their junk?
American football here is like smash ball. It's tackle ball. I don't know, but it's not football. They never use their feet. Okay, it's just bad use of language. They're just appropriating a sport and changed it any way they wanted. Like, what can I tell you? It's not football, it's soccer. That's all there is to it. Okay.
Maybe
And
we could call it pigskin ball, but then, we'd probably have
that
a
would
pig
be
farmer
rugby.
sue
That
for
that
sue
would
that
be
we were
rugby.
being
Mhm. Which
discrimination against the pigs.
rugby is like English. It's like American football English style without all the padding, like real man style, like rugby players.
All righty.
Hey, hey. Okay, I'm
See
out.
what's happened? Now we're off on another tangent.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you for that. It was nice to see you. All right, we're out. We're definitely out. That's rugby with padding and how exactly. But what can I tell you? They got to wear all that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Quiz. It was fun. I'll see
It
you
was
all.
fun.
I'll see you all again tomorrow at 4:00 for another legal update on the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And subscribe if you'd like to know what the hell we're doing, because they got that notification bell. If you hit all, it will tell you when I'm coming on. It will tell you because I do schedule ahead. So anyway, have a great Sunday, everybody. Talk to you soon. Thanks again, Quiz. You were fun.
It was fun. Good night, everybody.
Okay. Good night, everybody.